my favorite things in the kitchen that I use to cook with all the time is olive oil that's flavored with fresh rosemary. And what you want to do is just take some sprigs of rosemary, put it in a little olive oil, as much as you want. Usually I do about a quart at a time. So it's the rosemary. Don't be afraid, put a good few sprigs in. A few peppercorns. I would say probably about a dozen. And what you want to do is bring that up to a simmer. And simmer it gently for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then let it cool. And then when it cools, you want to strain it, put it into a plastic container or a container, and stick it in the fridge. And you can use this like butter, and it is the most amazing way of imparting a flavor into what you're cooking. One of my go-tos all the time. And the great thing about this is when you're cooking it, it's like you got a rosemary Yankee candle in the house burning all day. It absolutely perfumes your whole house. Your kitchen has never smelled better. So every once in a while, you like to change or mix things up a little bit. And it's always nice, a nice surprise for the kids, because it's probably their favorite meal of the day, is to serve breakfast at nighttime. And one of the things that we do is a frittata, which we'll make in a little bit. The first thing I'm going to make is a potato pancake. But it's a potato pancake that's actually cooked using that rosemary oil that we just made. And in the middle of the potato pancake is a layer of just regular sliced ham and some Gouda cheese. When you cut it open, it just oozes out, and it's absolutely fantastic. Actually, you could serve it any time, believe it or not, lunchtime, dinner time. It's a great side dish. So what we're going to use are either Idaho potatoes or Russet potatoes, and we're going to finally grate them. So what you want to do is put your pan on the stove, put it on, I'd say medium heat to get started, and you're going to use a box grater, like as if you're making it, it's like a fancy hash brown in essence. I'll put the recipe in a link below. So this is the rosemary oil right here. After you strain it, stick it in the fridge, it sets up. So this is so versatile, you can use it for anything. If you want to make some toast or some garlic bread, except use the rosemary oil mixed with garlic instead of butter. It just brings so much. And even to finish a dish with it, like put a little bit over pasta, it's you can't go wrong. But a little bit does go a long way, so you can dilute it a little bit with some extra virgin olive oil, which is probably what we're going to do here, and a little bit of butter. So over a medium heat, we'll get that going in the pan while we shred our potatoes. Okay, so we got our potato mixture right here. You want to squeeze and get a little bit of the excess water out of it, just so you can get like a crispy pancake. So spread it out at the bottom of the pan. You want to hear that sizzle when you put it in, because you want to get it going right away. That might look like a lot of potato, but you will, like I said, there's 2 layers to it in essence. So it will lose a lot of its volume as it cooks. So we are going to be flipping it, which is the hard part. It's not really, actually, it's pretty easy. Okay. All right, so our first layer is in. What you want to do is around the sides right here. Let's get the heat going up. So I would say medium high. So just around the sides, tuck it right in. Make sure that it's relatively even. Salt. This is when you would want to season it, because this is going to be the inside. And let's do some black pepper. Perfect. Okay, now the inside is going to be, we're going to have some ham and some Gouda cheese. You don't like Gouda, you can use something else. So we're just going to grate this. Oh, I think I forgot to mention was you want to preheat your oven to about 350 degrees, because that's where you're going to fit, when you flip the potato cake over, you're going to finish it in the oven. So after about, I would say 5 minutes, you should be starting to get a little bit of a crust on the bottom of the cake. And it's starting to move a little bit in the pan. See that? Going back and forth. That means that that layer is starting to crisp up. And to help it brown a little bit, I take a few pieces of butter. And that butter will help it crisp up, and it will also add some color as well. And you know, when you add a little bit of color, you're always adding another element of flavor. I'm actually going to put a layer, sprinkle some thyme in the middle too. You might think, okay, they're two conflicting herbs, you got rosemary and thyme, but actually they play off each other pretty well. I don't think it's going to be that much of a struggle. So let's pick some thyme, put it in the center. And I tell everybody all the time, herbs are without a doubt one of the things that if you want to up your game in the kitchen, use fresh herbs. And they are the game changer. What would a tomato salad be without basil? So after about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you're gonna see that it's starting to slide really nicely in the pan. Get yourself a little spatula, put it under, and look, that brown underneath the potato, that's what you're looking for, right there, that crispiness. So, slides nicely in the pan. Now we're gonna add our ham and our cheese. This is really simple. Let's keep it simple. If you want to use smoked ham, go right ahead. I'm just using regular boiled ham, believe it or not. So it works fine. Works great, actually. So layer of ham and take your cheese. You don't want to go to the complete edge. You want to keep it in a little bit. I'd say about 1 centimeter away from the edge. Okay. Now we're going to take the rest of our potato. Oh, what am I doing? And you're going to put it all over. Seal that in. Okay, so now that the potato has covered the cheese and the ham, you want to just basically flatten it out a little bit. Seal it in at the sides, just going around. You do want to season it, remember. Salt, pepper. And the fun bit's coming right up. So, take your plate like so. Now, you want to add a little bit more oil into the pan, because you got to do the same on that bottom as you did right here on the top. So I got my little bit of olive oil and my little bit of rosemary oil. So, look at that. Beautiful. Slide it off the plate, put it back in. That's it. So what we want to do is we want to achieve the same on the other side as we have on this side right here, with all that cheese, keeping the cheese and the ham and everything inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it a little bit brown on the bottom, start it off, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. You want to put it into probably about a 350-degree oven, I'd say for probably about 25-30 minutes, and then we'll cut it open. And while that goes into the oven, we're going to make our frittata. All right, well, we got the potato working. We're going to make my version of a frittata, and it's basically just cream and eggs, a little bit of basil, and a little bit of basil, some fresh tomatoes and parmesan. And it's more like a savory custard than anything else, but it's silky smooth, and there ain't one person that I've given this egg dish to that hasn't been like, wow, I've never had anything like that before. So what you want to do is you want to take a casserole dish, lightly butter it. I'm just putting the glove on so I don't have to keep washing my hands. So lightly butter it, and you're going to coat it with some breadcrumbs, and that's what will give it like a nice little crust underneath. And you're going to cook this in a water bath. So you're going to put it inside a tray, a baking tray, and give it about 1 centimeter of water, and that just kind of regulates the temperature of the dish here, so the eggs don't cook too fast, and you want eggs always like to be, believe it or not, cooked relatively slow. When they're cooked too high, the proteins don't react well. All right, so in here, you want to, whatever breadcrumbs you like, to be honest. So sprinkle them in. And just like coating when you butter and flour a baking tray. So right now, starting to move around in the bottom of the pan. You can see the butter just bubbling. So right now, we're good to go to put it in the oven. Like I said, you want to put it in the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. And you want to get that nice little, you want to get it kind of fairly brown on the bottom right now, because when you put it into the oven, believe it or not, a lot of the water from inside the potatoes is going to come out, and even though they're going to cook, you're not going to get that crust on the bottom. So you still want to get it fairly brown on the bottom right now. So let's go and stick it in the oven. All right, onto the frittata. So we got our dish. Let's get our bowl. So you need about 2, 4, 6, 8. You need about 15 eggs and about a quart of cream. So, and it's so simple to make. You just blend the two of them together, pour it into your dish, slice some fresh tomatoes on the top, and put a little basil. I'll show you some of the basil that we picked from the garden earlier on. We'll put that in the bottom. We'll mix a little parmesan in with the egg and custard mixture, season it with salt, and we'll cover it with foil for probably the first, it bakes in the oven for about 50 minutes. We'll cover it with foil for probably about half that time, then take it off, and it will get nice and brown down on the top. And when you take it out of the oven, you want to let it rest for about 10 minutes, and you are good to go. Okay, start cracking some eggs. It seems as though this is just eggs and cream. Try and get the best eggs that you can. So this is probably the tool that I use more than a food processor, more than anything in the kitchen, are these handy little blenders. If you don't have one, go out and get one. They're great. You can do anything with them. So we're just going to beat up the eggs, add the cream and the parmesan, and then we'll finish it real fast. So a little bit noisy. So you want to add about a quart of cream. Yeah, I know what you're all thinking. Half a teaspoon of salt. A few twists of black pepper. Cheese. So what we want to do, just if you can lay your herbs in the bottom, they'll perfume the eggs as they cook. So these we're just going to slice really, really fine. Sprinkle it all in the bottom of the dish. Yeah. And we're going to blend our egg mixture. So in essence, you have a savory custard. So let's pour it in. What you want to do is you want to put this into a dish, right, like a bacon tray, and we're just going to slice some fresh tomatoes. So you want to get them relatively thin. And then just lay them right on the top. Sprinkle it with a little basil again. Rip the leaves. And for the hell of it, a little more Parmesan. So all you want to do now is cover this with a little bit of foil. Foil stays on for about, I'd say maybe half its cooking time, 3/4 of its cooking time. You want to pour a little bit of water into the dish. Like I said, it's like cooking a creme brulee or a creme caramel. Eggs don't like aggressive heat, like a gentle heat. So we're going to put this in the oven, 350 degrees, like I said, for probably around 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Potatoes out of the oven. Taking it out of the pan is very, very easy. Have your plate ready or wherever you want to serve it. And literally take the spatula and just, there you go. I would say let it rest for about 5 minutes. And then we'll cut into it. All right, moment of truth. Serrated knife works best. You can just about see the layer of ham, the cheese underneath. That's the color that you want, that crispiness on the top. On the bottom too, and I'm sorry, I'm Irish. It's a potato. I can't wait. Oh my God. The thyme really, really, really comes true on it. Dave, get over here, man, and try this, please. And that's when what you cut to, that's your fork right there, man. The thyme is what nearly, I mean, it's a combination of a few things, and you can taste that toasty butter taste in the potatoes. Okay, winner, winner. right?
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Right, just perfumes it. Okay, frittata looks done. Look at that. Okay, so what you want to do is just let this rest for probably about 5-10 minutes. Believe it or not, it holds its heat really, really well. And then you're good to go. Serve with a spoon and giddy up.